Have you ever wondered why people you once trusted suddenly turn cold, why friends turn into enemies, and support turns into resistance? It is not always coincidence. There is a spirit, subtle and unseen, that works like a shadow behind human relationships. Witchcraft. Its goal is simple: to divide, to isolate, and to weaken. But once you understand how it operates, you can rise above its influence and take back control of your destiny. When we speak about witchcraft, many people imagine rituals, symbols or practices from ancient traditions. But the real danger of witchcraft is not always what is seen on the outside. The true essence of this spirit is division. It is not content with creating storms in the physical world. It moves silently through human connections. It whispers in places unseen, manipulating thoughts, bending perceptions, and reshaping the way people see one another. The purpose is simple: to divide, to separate you from those who would support you, to isolate you from those who once stood close, and to create gaps where unity once existed. Think about it. How many friendships have ended not because of something big, but because of small misunderstandings that were never resolved? How many families break apart not because of one great event, but because of repeated little fractures, small suspicions, silent doubts that grow into heavy walls? This is the craft of division. It does not need force. It only needs suggestion. A small seed planted in the mind, and then left to grow until trust collapses. When this spirit is at work, you may notice people who once loved you suddenly begin to distance themselves. You may feel that something invisible has changed in the atmosphere, even though you cannot explain why. Words become twisted, intentions are misread, and actions are misinterpreted. Suddenly harmony becomes conflict. Where there was once peace, now there is tension. This is the design of witchcraft. It thrives in confusion and breeds discord. But the deeper danger is that if you are unaware, you will begin to participate in the very division it creates. You might respond with anger, defend yourself unnecessarily, or distance yourself in return, and the cycle grows stronger. Witchcraft succeeds not only by planting division in others but by influencing how you respond to it. This is why awareness is so important. To see clearly that what is happening is not always about you, not always about the other person, but about a force that seeks to break the bond between you. It is easy to fight people, but it is harder to recognize when you are fighting an unseen influence. When you see a loved one turn cold, the instinct is to argue, to explain, to prove yourself right. But if the root is spiritual, your explanations will never be enough. You cannot explain away a manipulation that is designed to block understanding. The only way forward is to rise above it, to stay centered, and to refuse to feed the spirit of division with more division. Remember, unity is always more powerful than separation. Harmony is always stronger than discord. Witchcraft knows this. That is why it works so hard to pull people apart. The moment you understand this truth, you begin to weaken its hold. Because once you refuse to play its game, once you choose clarity over confusion and connection over suspicion, the spirit loses its power. And when it loses its power, you regain yours. When we speak about the influence of witchcraft, it is important to understand that it rarely announces itself openly. It does not come with a warning sign or a clear declaration. Instead, it works quietly, almost invisibly, weaving itself into the fabric of human relationships. The danger lies not in what is spoken out loud, but in the whispers that move through the unseen. A single thought planted in the wrong place can shift how someone perceives you, and before long, their heart begins to turn. What once was trust becomes doubt, and what once was closeness begins to feel like distance. This influence is subtle. You may not even notice it at first. A friend suddenly becomes less supportive. A colleague begins to see you as competition, or a loved one reacts to you with irritation for reasons that make no sense. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I change? But deep inside you know the truth. There has been no reason for this shift. The atmosphere has simply been altered, and it is almost impossible to point to where it began. This is how the unseen works. It shapes emotions and thoughts in ways that are difficult to explain, yet deeply felt. The spirit of witchcraft thrives in this space of invisibility. It doesn't have to touch you directly. It only needs to touch the hearts and minds of those around you. It knows that if it can change how others view you, then eventually you will feel the pressure and respond. And once you react, the cycle becomes complete. You begin to question yourself, or worse, you begin to change your own behavior to match the distorted image that others now hold of you. What makes this influence so dangerous is that it can break unity without a single argument, without a single confrontation. People drift apart not because of open conflict, but because of invisible walls. Smiles become rare, conversations feel heavy, and silence grows where once there was laughter. And yet, if you look back, you will struggle to find the exact moment it started. This is how witchcraft conceals its hand. It manipulates perception, and perception controls behavior. To recognize this influence requires clarity. You must learn to look beyond the surface of human interactions and ask yourself, what is really moving here? Is it truly this person, or is there something else behind their reaction? Most people stop at the level of the individual, blaming them for the change. But when you understand that not everything is as it appears, you begin to see the larger pattern. You begin to realize that some battles are not against people, but against influences that wish to use people. This is why it is vital to remain calm, steady, and centered when relationships begin to shift without clear cause, because the more you react with confusion or anger, the more power the unseen influence gains. But the more you remain clear, unshaken, and steady in your heart, the less grip it has. And once its grip weakens, those around you can slowly return to seeing you as you truly are. When this spirit begins to move against you, it leaves behind signs, subtle, but undeniable if you know where to look. One of the first signs is the sudden shift in the way people treat you. Individuals who once stood by your side may now pull away without explanation. Their tone changes, their presence becomes distant, and their warmth turns cold. You begin to notice that no matter how much good you intend, it is interpreted as something else. Acts of kindness are overlooked, words of encouragement are misunderstood, and even silence is judged harshly. Another clear sign is the sense of isolation that begins to surround you. You may find yourself excluded from gatherings where once you were welcomed. Conversations that used to flow freely now seem guarded, as though something invisible stands between you and the other person. This isolation is not accidental. It is the work of a spirit that knows the power of unity and does everything possible to strip it away. Its goal is to make you feel alone, so that doubt and discouragement can grow stronger within you. You may also begin to experience sudden conflicts that make no logical sense. Small issues explode into major arguments, misunderstandings appear where clarity once existed, and people misinterpret your intentions without you even speaking. You walk into a room and feel tension without knowing why. This is not coincidence. It is the manipulation of perception, designed to create chaos where there should be peace. A deeper sign is the weight of discouragement pressing against your spirit. You may start to question yourself, wondering why relationships are collapsing or why trust seems impossible to hold on to. And in that questioning, the spirit seeks to break your confidence. It wants you to believe that you are the problem, so that you internalize the division and carry the weight of guilt. But when you step back and observe, you will realize that the shifts happening around you cannot be fully explained by your actions alone. Something else is at work. Even your progress can become a target. When you are on the edge of growth or stepping into a new season of strength, resistance may rise sharply. People may suddenly oppose you, not because of who you are, but because of what you are becoming. The spirit of witchcraft knows that if it can turn others against you at the moment of breakthrough, it can delay your destiny. These moments are not random. They are carefully timed attacks meant to distract you from moving forward. The important thing to remember is that these signs are not meant to bring fear, but awareness. Once you recognize the patterns, you no longer have to live in confusion. You no longer have to wonder why people change or why relationships feel strained. You understand that there is an influence at work, and awareness itself is the first step toward freedom. Because when you see clearly, you are no longer easily deceived. And when you are not deceived, you cannot be controlled. The only way to withstand such invisible attacks is to cultivate inner clarity. When your inner world is clouded with confusion, fear, and reaction, you become an easy target. But when you are centered, when your thoughts are steady and your emotions balanced, no external force can twist your perception or pull you into its chaos. Inner clarity is like light in a dark room. It does not need to fight the darkness, it only needs to shine, and suddenly everything becomes visible for what it truly is. Most people live from reaction. When they feel rejected, they react with anger. When they are misunderstood, they rush to defend themselves. When people withdraw from them, they chase or withdraw in return. All of this gives power to the very force that is working against them. But clarity creates distance between what happens on the outside and how you choose to respond on the inside. It allows you to observe without being consumed. It allows you to see the manipulation without playing into it. To develop this clarity, you must first learn the discipline of stillness. When confusion rises around you, pause. Do not rush to prove yourself right or to convince others of your truth. Understand that when perception has been twisted, explanations will only sound like noise. Instead, hold your peace. In that silence, you gain perspective. You begin to see that the conflict is not truly with the person in front of you, but with the spirit working behind the situation. That realization alone saves you from wasting your energy in unnecessary battles. Clarity also means holding on to who you are, regardless of how others may see you. If witchcraft works by distorting perception, then your greatest weapon is consistency. Continue to walk in truth, continue to act with integrity, continue to be steady in your values. Over time, the fog lifts and the truth reveals itself. But if you allow confusion to push you into becoming someone you are not, then the spirit has succeeded. It has not only changed how others see you, but how you see yourself. Another part of clarity is learning to separate the voice within from the noise around. The influence of witchcraft does not only attack from the outside, it also seeks to echo in your thoughts. It whispers that you are alone, that you are rejected, that you are not worthy. If you believe those lies, then you reinforce its work. But if you remain clear, if you return to the inner certainty that your value does not depend on shifting opinions, then the lies lose their grip. Clarity is strength. It does not shout. It does not fight blindly. It simply stands. And in that standing, in that inner stillness, the storm around you begins to lose its power. Because no matter how much confusion the spirit spreads, it cannot control the heart that sees clearly and refuses to be moved. The spirit of witchcraft thrives on manipulation, and its greatest strength is convincing you that you are powerless against it. But the truth is that it can only influence what you allow it to. Breaking free from its grip requires discipline, a consistent commitment to strengthening your mind, your body, and your spirit. Just as a weak flame can be easily blown out by the wind, a weak inner life can be easily swayed by the forces around it. But when you cultivate discipline, your flame becomes steady, unshaken even when storms rise. The first step in breaking manipulation is refusing to be moved by every emotion or every shift in people's behavior. If you live constantly reacting to how others treat you, then you give away your power. Witchcraft feeds on reaction. It whispers lies, stirs conflict, and then waits for you to explode in anger or sink in despair. Each reaction becomes proof that its influence is working. But when you remain disciplined, when you choose not to answer every accusation, not to chase after every misunderstanding, you rob it of its power. This discipline is not just about self-control, it is about focus. You must know what you stand for and where you are going. When you are clear about your path, distractions lose their hold. Manipulation becomes powerless in the presence of determination. If your eyes are fixed on your purpose, then no amount of gossip, rejection, or false perception can pull you off course. The spirit wants to drain your energy by entangling you in meaningless battles. But when you refuse to engage, when you keep moving forward, its web unravels. Discipline also comes from caring for your inner life. This means nourishing your spirit with practices that strengthen peace, clarity, and resilience. It means training your body so that it carries energy instead of fatigue, and sharpening your mind so that it is not easily clouded by confusion. Every act of self-discipline is a declaration that you are not easily controlled. It is a way of telling the unseen, you cannot bend me because I have already chosen who I am. Another way to break manipulation is by refusing to let bitterness take root. Witchcraft wants you to respond to betrayal with hate, to rejection with resentment, and to misunderstanding with anger. Because once your heart is poisoned, you become part of the very work that was designed to destroy you. Discipline means protecting your heart, choosing forgiveness even when it is difficult, choosing love even when it feels undeserved. This does not make you weak, it makes you untouchable. It means that no matter how much darkness is thrown your way, you refuse to let it live inside you. And finally, discipline means consistency. Not once, not sometimes, but daily. The spirit of witchcraft does not rest, but neither should your vigilance. Each day you choose clarity, each day you choose peace, each day you choose strength. You are breaking the manipulation that was meant to hold you. Because in the end, it cannot control the one who has mastered themselves. When you understand how this spirit works and you refuse to bow to its manipulation, something powerful begins to happen. What was once meant to harm you becomes the very thing that strengthens you. Opposition is never comfortable, rejection is never easy, but within each of these experiences lies the seed of growth. If you choose to see only the pain, then the pain consumes you. But if you choose to see the opportunity hidden inside it, then even the attack becomes your teacher. Every time someone turns against you without cause, You are given the chance to strengthen your patience. Every time your intentions are misunderstood, you are invited to practice steadiness and humility. Every time you feel isolated, you are challenged to deepen your connection with yourself and discover that your worth was never dependent on the approval of others. The spirit of witchcraft may intend to break you, but if you respond with wisdom, you rise with more resilience than you had before. Think of it this way: iron sharpens through friction, diamonds are formed under pressure, and muscles grow through resistance. In the same way, your character is shaped when life pushes against you. Without resistance, you would remain soft, untested, and fragile. With resistance, you develop strength that cannot be taken away. The very opposition that sought to silence you becomes proof that you are walking in a direction worth opposing. Darkness does not waste its energy on what does not threaten it. If you are under attack, it is because there is something valuable within you that is worth stopping. This perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of crumbling under rejection, you begin to see it as redirection. Instead of being weakened by betrayal, you become wiser, more discerning, and more equipped to handle the future. When you no longer see yourself as a victim of attack but as a student of the experience, you take back your power. And as you continue to grow through opposition, something even greater takes place. Your presence begins to shift. Others will look at you and wonder how you are still standing, how you are still calm, how you have not been broken by the storms that were designed to destroy you. What they will not understand is that the very spirit that tried to turn people against you has only built in you a strength that no one can take away. This is the ultimate reversal, turning what was meant to weaken you into the foundation of your unshakable resilience. In the end, the attacks lose their sting because you no longer fear them. You see them for what they are, opportunities dressed as obstacles. And when you embrace this truth, no spirit of division, no manipulation, and no rejection can truly defeat you, because everything thrown against you has become fuel for your rise.